Okay. You know what? Y'all don't even need to see my face. I'm just I just wanted to paint. Uh Good lord. That was pretty wild. I'm learning there are a lot of issues with my camera. The way everything connects together is just like really funky. It's just not um yeah, it was kind of an investment to like find out that you can't really do much with it in terms of streaming. I'm sure it's great for recording material. I bought it because it was recommended as a streaming camera. Well, that's egg in my face, I guess. I'm still gonna be able to use it. It's just like I can't use it with the same versatility I was hoping that I was gonna have. And that's kind of a shame, you know. Like uh that bites. Anyway, we're gonna do this thing. Come hell or high water, we're gonna do this thing. Now, the question is, what color do I want this dragon to be? Because I know, okay, maybe we'll start with the loaf. This is the loaf dragon or drogon, like so. All right. I've already done orange. I was trying to do like a different color for each. Oh, this one is going to be yellow. Like pretty straight up yellow. I might do like I might mix something else along with it. Maybe some yellow ochre. This one's going to be kind of an easy one too. I might paint the wings like a different color. I don't know yet. Well, let's get started. I knew there were going to be hiccups when I started this, but I didn't realize it was going to be these kind of hiccups. Like like it's borderline maddening. Like having to deal with equipment where it's just like, I don't really want to cooperate. And like the YouTube setup sometimes makes sense, sometimes doesn't. But this is all just I know that it comes with the territory. It's just part of the whole shtick, right? Fortunately for me, nobody not nobody. There was Rainbow Cat, but Rainbow Cat, wisely went to go do their own thing, right? And I'm stubbornly just like, you know what though? I just want to do this. I set this intention for myself tonight. I don't care if anybody shows up or not at this point. I'm just here to paint. You can watch me paint or you can go do something more interesting. I'm being a little self-flagellating or whatever, but I don't care. Like it's just like, have you ever had one of those things happen where it's just like sometimes it feels like the machines are conspiring to defeat you? That's what it felt like. And That's why I was like, you know what? Okay, I just I need to simplify the way that I do things. Because I've already ordered another camera, a much cheaper camera too. Um, and that's gonna help. That's gonna really help me out in the future. But like I said earlier today in the OBS stream, like my goal is just right now just to put in the reps. Just put in the repetition and get to the point where it's like, oh, okay, I have the confidence necessary to solve these problems. Um, to also not have these problems occur in the same depth, as like what happened, like an hour ago. This paint is a little bit on the chalky side, so you can tell as you go over the lines that there's a slight translucent quality to the paint as it goes over the lines. It's funny because this camera works fine if you don't move it, but as soon as you move it, it's just like the wiring's weird. It's really fickle. I think ultimately it's not designed for streaming, it's designed for recording. And so it's designed to be a camera that you just like sit to the side and like let it track you basically. And like that would have been kind of nice to know before buying it. I'll end up making some use out of it. It's just like, wow. I'm clearly annoyed. I'm clearly very annoyed. But it happens. Anyway, enough of that. Um so yeah, I think this yellow works pretty well for this dragon. And another dragon that I painted that was kind of yellow, but it's more like a sandy kind of color. And this one's more of a lemon, like a lemon yellow. The other issue with this yellow is it streaks a little bit, which I don't know. Probably not the worst thing ever. I also forgot to tape it down, so it's starting to curl on me. Boo. But it's working out. All right, I'm going to switch over to the finer tip brush to do these horns. These loafy loaf horns. Oh no. What is that? It's like another color got mixed. Okay. It's working. But yeah, I talked about this in that original first test stream. And about the paper curling, and like I totally forgot to. I mean, I guess I could tape it down right now. Maybe I will do that in just a second. Since I have time. It's like even the tape doesn't want to work. I'm in a poopy mood. Got one side, two sides. Three sides. Four sides. Okay, cool. All right. And then next, I need to determine what color are his little folded wings going to be. So I can see a little better. I mean, probably like an orange. So I got some red over here. Mix that in. Just a very light orange. And I'm going to have to figure out for a shading color, it's going to have to be something on the lighter side. I don't want to do something like too intense. That works. All right. I almost want to do another, I think I might do another wash of this color because I want it to be a little bit darker than what it is. I think it's a little too light. And you can also see where some of that paint was going over it was just it's a little on the opaque side. Take some water real quick. Yeah, I'm going to do another coat. Just a little, it needs to be a little bit darker. I'm going to wait for it to dry. So I don't know, did I show y'all? Here's the other dragon that I want to paint. I might not paint it tonight because stuff happened. Things went awry. So let's see. The Lofi dragon that I just started painting was called Drogon. This one is I think this one is Nargod. Yeah. All right. So what I will do right now So I'm going to start on mixing the shading color for Drogon. Um, what is it going to be? Probably the most sensible thing to do is to blend, like go for a gray. So like blend kind of a bluish with this orange. Yeah. It should work. Well, it's a little bit on the dark side, so might want to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah. That should work. Well, there's not a whole lot to work with. So I gotta make it count. All right, so one more coat on this wing. Just like so. We can layer it. And by layering it, kind of make some nice little effect. I am going to have to do some cleanup. Because there are a couple of things like spilling over. That looks way better. I like that. Okay. Unfortunately, y'all can't really see what I'm talking about yet. Although I wonder if I change. No. Okay. I'm not going to mess with the lighting too much. All right, just get started on the shading colors. Or color. It's not really multiple colors. And the idea is here is because this is a lighter color, I want to use a lighter shading color. That makes sense. Like if I use like a black, that would be too dark, and I think a blue would contrast too much. So I decided to go for something that was within the same color spectrum as what I like started with. You know what is really useful about this camera angle though is like I can see that the watercolor on his wing hasn't dried yet. So I know not to apply anything to it yet, but to in fact wait just a minute. In the background of my mind right now, I'm thinking, it would probably be wise in the future just to do everything through OBS streaming, because then that way YouTube won't cut out on me if the camera cuts out, because it only cut out if OBS cuts out. Does that make sense? So theoretically, like, I could maybe potentially connect another camera. Anyway. That's coming along. Okay, that wing still isn't dried. Look at that. Totally still wet. And it's not obvious to me from my perspective currently. Or maybe it is dry and it's just like really thick application. I don't know. I could touch it. Do I want to? I did. It's a little bit wet. But not too wet. Not so wet that the paint's going to like start distributing across the water. All right. I like the way that looks. Not a whole lot left to do. The loaf dragon is a very easy one. I might go in here. Like so. And then I might do a little bit right here. I think that's done. I'm going to call it done. All right. Do y'all want to see me do another painting? Yes or no in the chat. I don't know how long y'all have been here, but I am certainly game to do another dragon. Drogon needs to like dry a little bit, but mostly dry. Well, why the heck not? All right. There you have it. That's one. Let's get to the other one. Drogon was yellow. What color is Nargod going to be? Kind of thinking a brown, because I've already done red. And honestly, I don't want him to look that much like Charizard either. So I might go for brown. or like maybe gray. I haven't made my mind up yet. All right, I think I don't want to do gray. I think brown is where I'm going to go. Probably ripe sienna. Or, what is this one? Vermilion? It's kind of a red, kind of an orangish red. What if I mix the two and add a little bit of the old burnt umber? My palette is like, my palette is so borked right now. Sorry, I got like my brush in my mouth. I might make his wings red. I think that's the idea. Okay. That's what I'm thinking is kind of go with this hot brown color and then give him like gray as the color for like his spines. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't know what the shade color is going to be yet. Just going to play it by ear. Remind me that I have some cleanup I need to do on both of these paintings when I'm done with them, though. All right. I like this color. This was a good pick. Just going to be kind of a difficult. There's a lot of territory. There's a lot of territory I have to work with here. In fact, what I might do, I might even go in and just color this tail. All right. And then I'll take that theoretical gray color I was talking about. And we'll do a wash over that tail. Like so. Should I even do that? Maybe I'll do that for the spines too. Mm-mm. Every once in a while, you have a day where like nothing quite works out the way that you wanted it to. Not that nothing worked out. It's just like there were a lot of things that didn't line up very well. And that happens. Kind of sucks, but it happens. You just have to have the. I don't know. Sometimes I think you have to just be willing to have the gumption and like the sheer tenacity to keep pushing yourself, right? Even when things aren't working out. Because you're going to get situations like that where it's just like things don't line up, equipment doesn't work properly. Sometimes you lose work. I've had that happen, especially with a lot of digital stuff. It's kind of a bummer, but it happens. And I don't know if I could tell you what it is that necessarily keeps me going all the time because like I just don't like. There was a part of me on the second attempt that was like, you know what though, maybe I should just hang it up for the night and just like try it again tomorrow. And then there was a part of me that was like, no, you made this promise to yourself. You should like push through, see how it goes. Just do it for yourself, right? Like just do it for yourself, even if nobody else shows up. Um, and so here we are. And besides, I was going to paint anyway. So here I am painting. And that's why I enjoy this. It's the gift that gives, even when like not everything else is given like you'd like it to. This is so much real estate I have to cover. On this painting, I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to make it line up appropriately. Like I'm kind of worried that this paint's already dried, so I gotta go fast. Hmm. Try not be too messy about it. And in fact, I might just, right now I'm just like, maybe I should just get the big brush and I'll do all of that like reflective. I call it reflective lighting. I don't know what else to call it. Just like the white lines. I think I'm just going to do that with a gel pen. Just be like, screw it. Because this is like too much real estate to cover in one go. And I can tell that like my sort of agitated mindset from a day that has been kind of wacky. Although it's not been a bad day at all, mind you. Not at all. Just a lot of things. You know what I mean? When things happen. Don't you hate it when things happen? It annoys me to no end. You're just minding your own business, not a care in the world, and then things happen. All right. That's mostly working. And mostly working is better than not working. Okay. Here's what I'm trying to figure out at this moment. The wings. I guess I'm just going to do everything in this color and then make that gray that I was proposing. And then go over the areas that I want to use the gray on. Or maybe purple. That's also a possibility. Purple could work. Not making any commitments yet. But this is coming together. A little bit on the like, I don't know. I would say it's a little bit on the rush side for me. But this works. All right. I'll do the other wing. Or maybe the spines. Whatever. Either or. Doesn't matter. All that matters is painting. All you have to do is paint. That's the whole point of this stream. Or, replace paint with drawing, carving, writing. Nothing. How about that? You weren't expecting that. Nothing is allowed. As in, everything is allowed, including nothing. Does that make sense? All right. I'm kind of surprised by how challenging this one was. I didn't think it was going to be that challenging. I don't know why, I guess. I wasn't maybe I wasn't paying attention to the real estate that I was going to be working in. I don't know. I thought that I knew Drogon was going to be easy. And I thought Nargod was going to be easy too, but turns out I was incorrect. All right, I'm going to let that dry for a second and maybe go in and kind of touch this up a little bit. Yeah. All right. I could also, real quick, paint in his tongue. Since that's a thing that's happening. Like so. All right. Now, let's do the next color. Which I think is going to be a purple. Don't quote me on that. But that's what I'm looking at. Like a lightish purple wash that will go over the wings, the spines, and then his tail. So I just need to mix that in real quick. I might also add. No, I'm not going to do that. Try not to do too much here. All right. Just mix it up real quick. I had this weird thing happen today. I went to this is why I shouldn't complain about how my day went. I was playing board games with friends earlier today before I came back to my humble abode to get ready to do this. While I was playing board games, like there was this one we were playing this one game called Wandering Towers. It's pretty fun. Kind of a wacky game. But while we were playing, there was like this moment where like my brain just like I don't know, like I suddenly okay, let me figure out how to explain this. So one of my friends I was playing with, he's colorblind, right? So like he has a difficult time distinguishing between certain colors. So I think he picked blue for his character color because I think he can mostly distinguish that. He can't really distinguish green or red and a couple other colors. Anyway, my character color. Hello, how you doing, Taco? Um, I had picked green, and like for some reason, I kept like moving his pieces that were all like the blue pieces, and he's like, Matt, those are Those are my pieces. What are you doing? And then like I even scored one of his pieces. I was so not like paying attention. Like I had some kind of like weird, I don't know what was going on in my brain today. Anyway, I guess that's how I'm doing. Taco. My brain's been in a weird place. I've been having some equipment malfunction, brain kind of malfunctioning a little bit. Um Also just like Baton Rouge traffic is so horrendous. I think that really like drained my brain for some reason. But it was just one of those things where it was like, what is going on? But yeah, I'm just painting right now. And I don't know if you had grasped what had happened, but like I had an issue. I have a lot of issues with this camera that I bought. um, so much so that I pretty much immediately bought a backup camera the next day. A much less expensive camera, and it took me about 3 tries to get to a point where I was like, "Okay, I can get this stream going." But, like, what would happen is I would start the stream, it would work, and then I would wanna move the camera, and it would, like, either the USB port would unplug or something would happen, and, like, the stream would automatically end. And, it was very frustrating, but I finally figured out something that would work. I settled on a solution. Alright. 'Cause I wanna do a couple, I don't know. I would like to do watercolor streams maybe once or twice a week. That's my goal. But then also doing like some streams while I work on Legend of Redneck in the future. Like I did one earlier today, and it was just like a test stream, make sure everything was working. And Varb showed up and he said hello. And then he disappeared, as Varb does. He's a very mysterious person. Um and then after that, I did this stream. They are amazing. I do enjoy the eyebrows on this character. Uh, I would put them on every single character that I draw, but that might be overkill. Yeah, honestly, like the whole reason I'm even um like after the second attempt, I did kind of wonder if I should stop, but I decided to push forward because I was just like, well, if I give up now, then I'm just gonna like that'll just discourage me in the future, and so I might as well just push through and like deal with the disappointment. But then also, I don't know, have that under my belt and never make that mistake ever again. I'm gonna, part of the reason why I had that issue in the first place was that I was not using OBS. I was just using like the webcam straight up, and the webcam has a very sensitive power button on the back, and then also like the USB port is very sensitive. So I'm just going to have to in the future be very mindful of that. And maybe also just like in the future, probably also use like my phone instead for streaming. like if it's watercolor stuff. This camera works fine if I'm using it in like a OBS multi-camera situation. It's not a big deal. But it's anytime that I move it. If I move it, it just freaks out. It just has all kinds of problems. So anyway, I'm going to. I think I'm going to use a dark blue for the shading color. So I'm just mixing that real quick. I'm going to move some stuff around. Because we're in the home stretch. What the heck? Okay. All right. Is that too dark? I don't know. Maybe a little. I'll dilute that color some. But yeah, Taco, are you asking if I was using OBS because you've heard people have problems with OBS, or just curious? Because I haven't had too many problems with OBS overall. Sometimes it has an issue like picking up webcams. Okay, cool. Taco's saying that she uses it for recording D&D sessions. All right. How do I want to do this? Start with the easy part first. Move to the hard part second. Don't overthink it. All right. That wasn't so bad. This is like the hardest part. I'm kind of surprised. Usually the shading part's like not that hard for me, but I don't know. This illustration's been more difficult than I was anticipating. Just things happened. This is going back to me talking about things. Because things happen, right? Isn't that annoying? Isn't it so annoying when things happen? Just walking along, eating a banana, or doing whatever you do. I don't even eat bananas. I don't know why I said that. And then things happen. Your whole mojo's messed up. I see. Taco gets it. Taco says, a thing happened to me once. I've never been the same since. It's exactly how it goes. You think, hey, everything's great. It's fine. Wife's just, peachy. And then a thing happens. And you're like, I can't believe this happened. This thing. But life's like that sometimes. All right. This is starting to come together. But after this, I need to do a little bit of cleanup on this and the other. The loafy dragon. The loafer. All right. It's a dragon that loafs a little bit like a cat, I would say. Or like a bird, because birds can loaf, as has been proven. Scientifically proven. All right, this is the hard part. The reason it's hard is because the shadow makes it kind of hard to see what I'm doing because of the lighting, which is a completely me thing that it's a problem I've caused for myself. Thanks, self. All right, almost done. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, nope. Just when I think I'm done. A thing happened. I don't know if that really works. It probably works. That'll probably have to work. All right. I need to fetch my gel pen. Where is it? Ooh. So yeah, I don't know if you can see this. This is the loaf dragon that I was talking about. Um, a nice yellow loaf dragon. But right now, I'm going to remove the tape on this illustration. And then let's clean it up. Hmm. Now the next question is, where do I actually need to clean up? Because it's really just that area. The thing happened. There's those things again. Might have to get out another gel pen. Because this one does not want to function. I think I might have I might have screwed it up. Hold on. Oh. All right, here we go. That's why I have several backups. Cool. It's actually kind of useful to look on the camera because it lets me. Thank you, Taco. I'm glad you like it. Looking at it on the camera because the colors are desaturated, so it actually kind of lets me look at it from a value standpoint. By that I mean like it kind of it's almost like I can look at it from sort of black and white. All right. I think that's done. Wait, hold on. A thing happened. All right. Cool. Now for the loaf drogen. I feel like there was something that. Oh, yeah. There it is. Just some paint that got outside of the line a little bit. feel like that happened for this other one. Maybe not. I'm just looking over it. Uh, oh, yep, a little bit. A little bit. Okay. Calling it done. Well, I think that's it for now. Thanks for hanging out. And like I said before, I do want to do this at least twice a week as far as the watercolor streaming goes. Oh, I'm just looking at the chat real quick. I'm going to read over this real quick. Taco says, "Oh, on an unrelated note, I finished an audiobook version of Alan Watts' The Art of Zen. I remember you mentioned looking into Taoism more recently, right?" Yeah, Taco. So I've been I've been reading a book called it's the title of the book is just Dao De Jing. So DaoDejing. It's I guess that it does have a subtitle. It's Dao De Jing, the what is it? The comment. I wish I had the book on me. I don't. I can maybe I can search for it real quick. The author or one of the authors of the book is a guy by the name of Bruce Francis, and he is a Tai Chi Qigong instructor in Boulder, Colorado. He has quite an interesting history, but I'm just filling up space while I look for this. What is the name of the dang book? Oh, that's what it is. Okay. The book's called Tao Te Ching, The Oral Tradition. And it's a commentary by Bruce Francis. The translation's by Alan Peatfield. Very thick book. I've read multiple translations of the Tao Te Ching. I've read the I Ching. What got me started on Taoism was in high school, and it was this book called The Tao of Pooh, as in Pooh, as in Winnie the Pooh. It's a very good intro. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's a very good, but it is a decent introductory text to Taoism because the whole idea of the book is the author wants to sort of give you an idea of like Taoist concepts through characters in Winnie the Pooh. And I enjoyed that book a lot in high school, but it is very much a primer. So like the idea of the book is it just is kind of a way to give you a taste of like what Taoism is about, all that stuff. I'm imagining that like you're bringing that topic up because I'm sure Alan I haven't read The Art of Zen yet, but I'm sure Alan Watts goes into Taoism as like an influence on Zen thought, right? Because like I just finished an audiobook for this book called Zen Mind Beginner's Mind, I believe is what the title is. You may have even shared it with me. I'm trying to remember where I came across it. Um but that book, after going through that book, I became extremely like aware of what were the Taoist influences in Zen thought. And the oral tradition book that I was just talking about, that book um, also does a very good job of sort of like laying out what are the what are the multiple sort of influences in Eastern philosophy that kind of commingle with each other? Because there's a lot in common with Taoism and like Tibetan Buddhism and even Hinduism. And I mean, all those things are tied together, right? Because Buddhism, Alan Watts had this saying, and I don't know if it was his necessarily, but he did say this thing about how did he put it? It was like Buddhism is Hinduism for export, basically. And so the idea, I guess, being like, it boils down the main concepts in Hinduism for easy consumption for people outside of that culture. And I was kind of struck as I was like reading and, doing more research on Taoism, and like, if I could say that there was one main difference between, let's say, Taoism and like, like Mahayana Buddhism or like Tibetan Buddhism, the main difference is that Taoism doesn't have a particular, like, this is what you have to do, if that makes sense. Like, there are things that you can do if you want to reach certain levels of awareness, right? But there's not like a moral imperative for it. And so that aspect of it is what really influenced Zen, as far as I could tell. Because Zen has that very kind of similar mindset of like my favorite thing with listening to people talk about Zen is like when they talk about Zazen, right? The practice of like sitting and meditating, they're like, all you do is sit. That's it. Like that's all you do. There's no like goal here. You're not worried about like achieving things. You just show up. And that mindset is very in line with sort of the Taoist mindset, because the Taoist mindset is like find a practice that gets you on the right track, that gets you towards discovering the Tao. And the more that I kind of learn about what that actually means within the mindset of Taoism, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But the main idea is that you are getting to a point where you're, for lack of a better wording, your internal nature lines up with the like the nature inside of you lines up with the nature outside of you, if that makes sense, such that you are harmonizing with the way that you participate in the world, and you're not acting strictly from egoic intent, or like acting strictly from like a desire to, you know, get one up on somebody else, or like, try and achieve legacy or all these other things. Um, in Taoism, they like to use the term like gaining thoughts, or what is the other term that they use? I know that the Chinese term is like yosoi, and so like the opposite of yosoi is wusoi. Wusoi is non-action, which is, I feel like Zen has very similar concepts in terms of um, I can't remember how they put it in Zen, but it's sort of like thinking without thinking or doing without doing, kind of a thing. Let me take a sip of water real quick. Anyway, yeah. So to answer your question, I have been looking into Taoism quite a lot. Not to mention because I mean, I participate weekly in my Tai Chi class. Like my instructor is, I would say, I mean, he's from originally, he learned Tai Chi in Taiwan. I'm pretty sure he's Taiwanese. I'm not 100% on that. But like he might originally be from mainland China. I'm not sure. Um that's not like a it's not like a question I've gone in to ask Sifu. Um but something he does try and do in most sessions is talk about a lot of the philosophical tenets in Taoism, because a lot of what he's trying to teach in his Tai Chi class has to do with self defense. But for him, he does not feel like it is responsible to teach self defense principles without also teaching like Taoist concepts that have largely to do with having a non-violent mindset, to where if you are in a situation where you are needing to use self-defense things, like punching, kicking, whatever, you want to have a protocol set up for yourself that it is the last absolute resort. And so you are like seeking a mindset that is very practical, but also very much in line with trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes and to like respect their free will and to give them every possible chance to find common humanity. And you can extrapolate that out, right, into not I mean like let's forget physical conflict entirely. Let's just go into like, verbal conflict, emotional conflict, stuff like that. Is extremely useful in our age because we live in an age that it's like so um like doused, maybe doused isn't the right word, but like drowning in like emotional verbal conflict. And it's because a lot of people they don't think about the words that they say, they just kind of shoot from the hip. And it makes it very easy for people to kind of reiterate and continue that cycle, right? Like that's what when people talk about karma, like yeah, you could take the concept of karma out and like put it into the whole like reincarnation thing, blah blah blah. That's fine, but you can just like let's put it into our real everyday life, right? And our real everyday life, as we are alive, where we have that's where we have the most impact on our day-to-day living. Karma is, you know, the the consequences of our action on a day-to-day basis, right? The consequences of like, you know, sticking your middle finger up at the person who cuts you off, in traffic, or like um the the friend or family member or whoever that you get into an argument over whatever, or get into an argument with over whatever. And you may reflect on that later and be like, why were we even in that argument? I don't even know what we were talking about. Or like, you know, um, the attitude one may have of trying to get the better over somebody else in a monetary situation, or et cetera, et cetera. I could go on, but my point is like, you know, karma is when like an actual practical idea or concept of karma is the law of like unintended consequences, the law of like what you put out into the world is going to have some kind of going to have further consequences down the road that you may not expect. And the trick to that is like learning how to either stop that. We can't really stop it. That's not really the right way of putting it. Like adjusting course, right? As quickly as you can, as best as you can, as in a way that is like non-interference as possible. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I can stop at any time, but if you want to talk about this, I love talking about this stuff. Um, but in a, like another core principle in Taoism that I'm not sure, it seems like this core principle is pretty entrenched in Zen based on like, apocryphal material, based on like Zen koans, is this concept of non-interference, which is basically this idea of, once again, like I was saying earlier, like respecting somebody's free will, respecting somebody's like Buddha nature, right? To use the Zen and use kind of like Zen terminology, by allowing them to make all of their decisions and not forcing them, into making like what you would think are better decisions or good decisions, allowing them to like make those mistakes or allowing them to like see the error of their ways by virtue of their own observance. This is another, like, this is, as far as I can tell, this pretty much extended from Taoist thought. Um, you see it in the I Ching, you see it in Lao Tzu. Eventually, I'm going to read Zhuangzi. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm still reading that oral tradition book. But I would say, from what my very cursory understanding of Zhuangzi, it's very um, I don't even know how to put this properly. So, like in Taoism, there's kind of two concepts. There's the way, and then there's the virtue of the way. And so, as far as I understand, Zhuangzi is more about the virtue of the way, and Laozi he's more about the way itself and sort of like omni applicable routes for applying it. And also, it should be said that Laozi his work is considered part of what is considered the water tradition. And there are apparently two traditions. There's a water tradition and a fire tradition. I don't know a whole lot about the fire tradition. I just know it exists, and that in general, the fire tradition is more about what they consider like yang energy, yang practices, which tend to be more obvious, overt, and like surface level. So like on the outside, it looks like you're doing a lot, and then on the inside, it's very still. And then whereas like water tradition is more like on the outside, it looks very still, but on the inside, there's a lot going on. And so the main concept, and this is what I'm learning from reading the oral tradition book about the Tao Te Ching, is that Laozi's tradition, or the water tradition, is very explicitly about cultivating uh, an internal universe, or that might not even be the right word, but cultivating like an internal practice that allows you to fully understand yourself and how you relate to the rest of the world. I'm kind of reiterating what I said earlier. Um, but I would say that water tradition is probably what extended and sort of like went over to Japan. And like I said, I don't fully know because I've also heard Alan Watts talk about a lot about Zhuangzi. So there's a lot that I'm not quite fully caught up on in terms of that stuff. And I need to read that book too because I don't think I've read it. Um, I know I've heard him talk a lot about those ideas, but I don't think I've read it. And so, like, generally, what I do, um, I'll like read a bunch of chapters of that oral tradition book, and then I'll take a break and like listen to some Zen stuff, and I'll go back and forth and back and forth. Because I have to, like, that oral tradition book is so big and it's so like it's also kind of weird. Like there's just a lot of weird concepts in Taoism. And so I have to like take a break from it, step back, and just like sort of um I was gonna say fester in it. uh marinate in it. I think that's a better way of putting it. Anyway, I love talking about that stuff, so I'm glad you asked. Uh I'm gonna I'm gonna end the stream though, and it was good hanging out. I hope everybody who is present or has been present has a good rest of your evening, rest of your day tomorrow. And I will see y'all again soon. Okay, bye.